Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to you all to today's PV Tech webinar in partnership with Sunman. I'm Ben Willis, Managing Editor of PV Tech. Today we're going to explore an innovation that could unlock huge opportunities in commercial and industrial solar, an often overlooked segment of the PV industry. Last year, Europe's C&I solar segment was one of its best performing, contributing 18.5 gigawatts of capacity, around 33% of the block's total new additions for that year. Considering many of the challenges facing European PV over the next few years, commercial and industrial PV would seem to be a segment whose time has come. Chief among these is the growing hurdle posed by the fact that the European grid is struggling to cope with the growing volume of PV capacity seeking an interconnection. Solving that challenge will require a concerted effort on the part of policymakers and financiers and is unlikely to happen overnight. In the meantime, behind-the-meter solar installations are emerging as promising options for businesses looking to tap into the economic benefits of solar right now without having to wait for costly, cumbersome grid connections. However, a major constraint on the viability of C&I installations is that a significant proportion of rooftops are physically unable to bear the weight of a large solar array. According to some estimates, around 40% of commercial rooftops that could in theory accommodate a solar system are simply not strong enough to support a typical crystalline silicon installation. Today we're going to hear how the lightweight solar module offered by Sunman offers a solution to this conundrum, opening up opportunities for businesses that are keen to go solar but are currently shut out of the market. We'll learn more about the technology's numerous advantages, such as ease of installation, and explore Sunman's plans to position its technology as a mainstream solution for C&I solar installations. I'm pleased to welcome as our guide through today's topic, Thomas Bell, Director of Global Product Marketing at Sunman. After Thomas has given his presentation, we'll open the floor to questions from you, our audience. As always, this interaction is really important to us, so please put your questions for Thomas in the questions tab on the right hand side of your screen, and we'll do our best to get to them in the Q&A session after the presentation. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Thomas. Thomas, the floor is yours.
Marvelous, thank you, Ben, and thank you everybody for taking the time. A really good place to start in our presentation today is just to really frame the opportunity. As Ben mentioned, I think the market, the residential market gets a lot of focus because it wins votes and the topic often overlooked. But if we look at what solar power Europe has reported, particularly 2050 performing segments in continental Europe. So the C&I market contributed to 18.5 gigawatts of installations. They define the C&I market as greater than 100 kilowatts, but less than 2 megawatts. So in that spot, 18.5 gigawatts is a great result and really shows how robust this sector is. That 55% of renewable so this gives us great policy direction that over the next 5 years, strong policy direction which is going to further fuel the growth, particularly in the CNI reports. If we break down the CNI market, this growth between the rooftop and the utility market, even if scenario growth rate from 2023 to 2020, we look at a medium 7, we're going to continue to see this strong growth and underlined by that 2030 renewable energy target. In this CNI space is, so as Ben mentioned, drives for the first time, the system economics of behind the meter savings are really standing out. Selling solar systems, if you really reduce it down to our core value proposition, we don't sell solar systems, we sell an investment vehicle. It just so happens that the investment that we sell delivers an electricity savings. So with record low global prices for modules, we're really seeing the economic installation costs and record low of a solar investment being a year mark. So as the slide for economics of attractive investment, we're seeing the market wanting to invest in larger systems. As the energy prices investment in larger systems. But the larger the systems get, the more structural limitations we're likely to see. Conventional glass modules weigh 15 kilos per square meter. So glass modules on a roof, that's 80 tons. So when these structures were built 5, 10, 15 years ago, no designed or were thought about to accommodate these larger solar systems. Furthermore, if we look across continental Europe, particularly in the colder parts of Europe, over 7% of the roofs use membranes or a preferred build and make the buildings more energy efficient. So membranes in those industrial settings. One of the main problems with membranes is penetration. So if you have a 10,000 square meter industrial roof and you want to put a megawatt solar system on, you really have two options. Option one is you use a ballast system to weigh the solar system down, but ballast just compounds the problem by putting 30 or 40 kilos per module. Or the other thing is to penetrate the roof. So putting 17,000 holes in your membrane roof really is a real risky, and a lot of landlords don't like, the penetrations of their membrane. So the possible market here of behind the meter savings and larger systems of membranes really creates, as Ben said, a real conundrum in growing this market further.
Thomas, I'm really sorry to interrupt you, but we're having a few connection issues. I wonder if you might want to try turning off your camera and just talking, because sometimes that reduces the bandwidth being used and maybe make what you're saying a little clearer. Would that be all right?
Sure, no problems.
Okay, thank you very much.
So as Ben mentioned, the industrial solar market will really play an interesting role in helping Europe meet its targets. In a recent climate report produced by EMBA, the link below, it's predicted that 205 gigawatts of solar will not be built because of continental Europe's underdevelopment of the transmission and grid infrastructure needed to facilitate such a large deployment of solar and wind. There's just not enough poles and wires in the market to accommodate this growth that's predicted to come. So the transmission service operators, the TSOs, are really struggling to develop the near-term transmission lines required to facilitate such a rapid deployment of solar. building a 100 megawatt solar farm is relatively simple. The modules are easy to get, mounting systems are easy. There's relatively enough land out there. Well, but in continental Europe, with a lot of agricultural land, that's also service lines. How do you take becoming a bit of an issue? But the main thing is the load centers, and how do you build in those transmission lines? One of the strategies that the transmission service operators are looking at, solving this problem, is using what we use the existing grid info they define as non-wide solutions. How do we structure to unlock more of the renewable energy into the European market to ensure that there is no the rollout of solar and bottlenecks to ensure that our targets are met by 2030. Now, if we look at this, is a map of Europe. Lines show the transmission line infrastructure as a sort of call it a uniform grid. So one of the visions that Sunman is looking to achieve is, how do we turn industrial parks into solar parks? How many warehouses out there? How many manufacturing plants? We've just got millions of, and that roof space has already been connected to the grid. Electrons don't care which way they flow, whether they flow in from the grid or out of a roof back into the grid. So I think this is a really important part of Europe's strategy, particularly in the next 5 years, is using the existing transmission lines that link Europe together, opening up the industrial market to a way that allows full rooftop utilization, and to turn ambient warehouses into the ability of turning into generators. So there's no agricultural farm to be used. There's no transmission lines upgrade. There's no community engagement. Nobody wants to give up their land for transmission lines. So this is, I think, a really important strategy for our sector to cover, but it comes with a lot of challenges which Sunman will solve. So our market research indicates that approximately 40% of roofs in Europe at full rooftop utilization will have some sort of structural limitations. And this really goes to the insight of Sunman 10 years ago. Sunman was founded in 2014, and to have a vision of this problem such a long time ago really gives you should give you some good confidence in the product and our vision to solve this problem. But we're not here just to solve the problem of structural limitations. I think moving away from big, bulky, heavy glass modules really allows the installation community to bring in other savings to projects. And we really believe that we're at a time of an evolutionary split. So conventional glass modules primarily are designed for the utility scale market. If you go back to 2010, 2011, 70% of the market globally was utility scale modules. So these modules are really big footprints, makes them easy to install in ground mount situations, but makes them really difficult to handle up on a roof. Your standard 580 watt module that's commonly used in the industrial sector now is 2.2 meters long, 1.2 meters wide, and can weigh up to 32 kilograms. So developing a module that's lightweight really will facilitate the speed of deployment in the industrial sector. And we really believe we're standing at the precipice of an evolutionary split, where we'll see the manufacturers split in terms of their manufacturing techniques. And Sunman is a pioneer in this sector, where we're developing a module that's lightweight and specifically designed for rooftop applications. And our vision for the future is that in 10 or 15 years' time, there'll be a group of manufacturers making lightweight solar modules to unlock the industrial commercial market, and there'll be a group of manufacturers who continue to build glass modules to service the utility market. So quick recap on Sunman. So Sunman was founded in 2014 and was based in Australia. The founder, Dr. Zhenrong Shi, an Australian citizen scientist based here in Australia, and set out with the mission of why do modules have to be made out of glass? Why are they so big, bulky, and heavy? And that journey started in 2014, where we commercialized the world's first glass-free lightweight solar module, the first module of its type to pass the same IEC 61215, 61730 standards of conventional glass modules. Our IP really is in the manufacturing process and the encapsulation product. We use the same cells that are available or in the commercial, available in the market. So we're cell agnostic. We can use any cell technology in the market and encapsulate that in our patented material and through our patented manufacturing process. So when you really think about Sunman, even though we supply we supply modules, we really are a material science company where we've developed a composite material that has the same strength and durability of glass with the weight. Market-leading, world-first technology of a product that's passed the same durability test of glass modules. We have over 1 gigawatt of modules shipped since 2014, and we currently operate a 1 gigawatt production facility in China. For those who would like to see our factory in full swing, if you go to Sunman's YouTube channel, you'll be able to see a video of a tour through our manufacturing facility. So one of the innovations that Dr. Shi and the Sunman team brought to the market is looking for materials other than glass. So the composite material industry is a very mature industry, and we've taken a lot of learnings in our composite material from the aviation industry. What the aviation industry done over the last 30 years, they've spent billions of dollars to make their airplanes lighter. The lighter your airplane is, the more energy and fuel efficient it is. So taking that experience and moving it into the solar industry means that we can stand on the shoulders of giants and take these innovations into a new setting. The same with crystalline silicon. Sunman, we don't need to reinvent the cell market. There's enough high quality, low cost cell producers. What we need is a new manufacturing encapsulation process that allows us to take these proven cells and encapsulate them in a new way. So I think this innovation that Sunman brings is really a cross-border innovation where we're taking existing proven semiconductor technology and blending that in with new composite materials from a solar perspective that have been well proven in the aviation industry for many decades. So our main product in the European market is our 520 watt module, which is roughly 2.2 by 1.2 meters in size. This module weighs 7.7 kilos. If this was a glass module, this would weigh close to 30 kilos. As you can see by the module on the ground next to a small coin, you can see the module is super thin, only 2 millimeters thick. Being so thin and so light, our packing density, we can get close to 35 kilowatts per pallet. So significantly reducing transportation, logistics cost, and warehouse storage. Because our module uses the same semiconductor technology and conventional glass modules, our modules come with the same 25-year linear power warranty. And because our composite material has passed the same IEC 61215 testing, we're able to also offer a 12-year product warranty. One of the other innovations our SMF technology brings to the market is using what we call a quick bonding installation methodology. So taking another cross-border innovation and learning from the glazing and structural glazing market. We're using a structural glazing silicon to bond solar modules directly to the roof. That means we remove all needs for mounting hardware. 30% of an installation on a metal roof is directly related to the installation of the L feet, the brackets, and the railing system. So by removing that mechanical hardware and being able to bond modules directly to the roof really allows us to bring in labor savings, but more importantly, allows us to get to an installed weight of around 3 kilos per square meter. As I mentioned at the start of the presentation, that in the colder climates of Europe, over 70% of membranes, roofs in Europe are built with a membrane. And membranes require, or the preferred installation methodology is zero penetration. The only way zero penetration can happen with a glass module system is by using a ballast. And particularly as the systems get larger, if you need, the modules weigh 15 kilos per square meter, but you still need another 20 or 30 kilos per square meter to hold the modules in place via a static load. When you have 2, 3, 4,000 modules on the roof, times that by your 30 or 40 kilos, you can imagine very quickly that the weight becomes a major issue. And penetrating membranes and the risk around water ingress or also makes customers a little bit nervous. So using our quick bonding technology and our structural glazing silicons, we're able to bond solar modules to the roof, maintaining that super lightweight properties and having a zero penetration installation. So a lot of the market get a little bit nervous about bonding solar modules to the roof, but we've partnered with a global engineering firm called ARUP, and we've completed a complete design guide. We've assessed the installation method to the European codes for wind load and structural analysis. We've developed a comprehensive structural design guide, which we can share with you. And we've also released a design calculator that allows us to streamline the design process to help you calculate how much structural silicon is needed. And just to remind people around how proven and robust structural glazing is. Now, the structural glazing market is a $38 billion USD market. Think about how many high-rise buildings have glass facades or glass curtain walls or just glass windows glued into aluminium frames in multi-story buildings. Your car windscreen or windshield is glued into the frame of your car, which allows you to drive down the Autobahn at 300 kilometers per hour. So again, we've repurposed these glues or adhesives that have been used extensively in the glazing industry for many, many decades. And when we go into a high-rise building situation, we never seem to be worried about how well the windows are bonded inside the aluminium frame. So repurposing proven, tested adhesive technologies, again, is a really clever innovation that Sunman brings to the market. At Intersolar this year, we released a new product called Dragonfly. The innovation that Dragonfly brings to the European market is it allows us to leverage our existing DNA in terms of our super light module, but now allows us to use that module with a conventional mounting system. So the module itself, now that it comes with a pre-installed substructure at the factory, still maintains its super lightweight properties. So the SMF 520 just presented had a weight of around 3 kilos per square meter. So the pre-installed substructure we use is also a fiber reinforced polymer. It increases the weight slightly only to around 4 kilos per square meter. The other innovation that Dragonfly brings, it allows us to use the conventional mounting hardware used in the global market. So you get the benefits of lightweight solar with being able to use the existing conventional mounting hardware ecosystem that many companies and installers have been using for many decades. So I'll just quickly run through some photos of how that looks like with our Dragonfly module. So this is a good cross section of a typical mounting hardware, where you can see you have your standard solar rail. We define it as an open source system because whatever locking nut is used by whatever mounting system, we're able to easily integrate that to our substructure cross section here. As part of our substructure cross section, we supply a clamp that allows to integrate into that substructure. So when you buy a Sunman Dragonfly module, you get the lightweight module, the pre-installed substructure, and the clamps needed to integrate into any market, any conventional mounting hardware available on the European market. And we've recently entered into a working relationship with Schletter, for example. So our lightweight modules with our proprietary clamp can be used in market-leading products like Schletter. So you get able to access the full Schletter ecosystem with our lightweight solar modules, for example. But we are working with Anti, Clenergy, and a number of other very popular mounting systems on the commercial and industrial markets. So that really completes our our Sunman portfolio in terms of one, solving a lot of barriers to further growth in the industrial commercial market, particularly around weight and penetration. Our product, even though we're servicing a niche today, we really believe we're at this pivotal point of an evolutionary split, and there's a lot of soft cost savings that Sunman will be able to bring to the European market. So I think we've got a really a good portfolio of solutions. So we have our metal roof solution where we bond to the roof, which is our lightest, quickest, easiest solution, which we call quick bonding. We have our flat membrane roof solution, which means there's zero penetration and no need for heavy ballast system. And for those who would like to stick with a conventional mounting approach, well, we still have a lightweight module, 8 kilos per square meter, that allows you to install solar using conventional systems. So I think we've got a well-rounded portfolio. So positioning Sunman as a mainstream industrial product. So I think we need to, as installers, we need to also think about ways of improving efficiency on roofs. What we're starting to see, particularly in a lot of Western markets, is there's a lot of labour shortage for tradespeople or labourers on roofs. So by being able to make systems easier, quicker to install, by having lighter weight modules, we can actually make them more efficient. We can increase the labour pool. We can reduce occupational health and safety problems. So, a couple of examples here. If we take a 1 megawatt system, I mean, that's around 1,800 modules. If you've got a module that weighs 30 kilograms per panel, and as the market continually scales, 30, 40, 50% growth in the industrial market to come to hit our 205 gigawatts of solar to be installed by 2030, there's a lot of exposure here in terms of work health and safety. So, having lightweight solar modules could be a real way of, reducing exposure to insurance risk. Improved installation efficiency. Most installers work in crews of 4 or 5, just like a mini football team. If you lose your striker because of a broken ankle and they have to sit on the sideline, it's hard to replace your team members. So, what's the occurrence of injuries that's reducing installation efficiencies? So these are some of the softer things that, as we position our businesses for the industrial market, some things to consider. As I mentioned, just increasing the labour pool. So many contractors being in solar for 15 years, I just hear so many stories around contracting companies and EPCs just finding it difficult to attract labour. Little Johnny finishes high school and wants to be a solar installer, does 2 or 3 installations, but gives it up because carrying 30-kilogram panels day in, day out is hard work. So by having a lightweight solar module in your portfolio means it's less labor intensive, means you can attract a larger labor pool, and hopefully reduce the turnkey labor costs. And I think another interesting thing to consider in terms of positioning Sunman as a mainstream product, for our more experienced customers, we've been in Europe now since 2018, so we do have a large base of customers who do have a lot of experience. We're starting to see about a 20 to 30% reduction of time on roof, just because of the efficiencies around our technologies. If a 1 megawatt glass module system takes 6 months to build, and we can reduce time on roof by 30%, that's around a 2-month reduction. So if you can reduce your time on roof by 2 months, we can reduce hiring costs, lifting equipment, scissor lifts, edge protections. So a back of the envelope calculation is 2 months of hiring costs could reduce your construction cost by around 30,000 euros at 1 megawatt scale. So that equates to around a 3 cents per watt discount. And there's another important saving to think about from a customer perspective. If we can energize our system 2 months earlier compared to a glass module system, at 20 euro cents per kilowatt hour for energy, if we assume 100% consumption of that 1 megawatt system, that means the system is going to be generating $60,000 more energy sooner than a glass module system. So that's pure profit for the system owner. So by being able to deliver your system 2 months earlier, that could equate to a 6 cents per watt discount on the capital cost of choosing a Sunman system. But Sunman is not an isolated product in this scaling of the industrial market. So I think to be really successful in riding the industrial commercial wave that's predicted to come through Europe because of the challenges around the grid infrastructure, the rising cost of energy, in order to be successful in lightweight solar and scaling with us as EPCs and integrators, there's a few other considerations you need to bring to market. So industrial batteries, we all know about the duck curve, negative wholesale pricing. So as systems get bigger and we have full rooftop utilization, to ensure we're maximizing as many of these rooftops as possible, as you take Sunman to market, it really needs to be coupled with industrial batteries, being able to mitigate any risk around negative wholesale pricing, and also help your customers extend the generation curve by capturing more energy at peak times during the day and discharging that at those shoulder times in the mornings and afternoons. As systems get bigger, 1 megawatt systems, €1 million, finance is going to be a really important part of helping you scale your Sunman business. We're starting to see an emergence of a lot of rooftop PPA companies where a power purchase agreement is linked to generation, but purely for behind the meter applications. So being across the finance that's available in the market, I think is critical for scaling your Sunman business. And last but not least, this is a really interesting point, and we talked about this at the start, the TSOs, the transmission service operators. There's a real strong move from these grid operators now to look at using that existing non-wide solution. So in the areas where you operate connecting with your transmission service operators and getting an understanding of their renewable energy targets and maps, because we're starting to see a growing demand for virtual power plants. That's turning ambient warehouses into generators and getting that energy into the wholesale market. So doing a bit of research in your local areas to understand how the TSOs are positioning themselves for these non-wide solutions to ensure we're on track for our 2030 targets. So some additional things to consider as you position and scale your industrial commercial business, leveraging Sunman. So Ben, that brings me to a close on the presentation. So thank you everybody, and I'll
thanks.
Open the floor to some questions.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Thomas. I think, and apologies to everyone watching for the connection at the start of Thomas's talk. I think we're okay now, but I think in the interests of not causing any problems, I'm going to keep my camera off. That's yes, but we'll plow into a few questions. Got a few coming in, and I think one question I guess is a sort of general one about the fact that the modules don't use any glass. What does that mean in terms of soiling and cleaning? And I'm going to sort of fold into that a related question about the sort of durability of the modules, and a question specifically from one audience member about their ability to withstand hail, which is obviously a problem that the PV industry is contending with, not just in Europe, but I think pretty much everywhere now. We're getting more large hail stones falling, and so yeah, I wonder if you could just address those two points there about soiling and cleaning and hail and general resilience, I suppose.
Yeah, great. So with our module being frameless, we have no frames that collect dust. So one of the major issues with conventional glass modules with the 35 or 40 millimeter frame, it normally has a 3 or 4 millimeter lip on that. So what you see over time is the modules gather dust in those corners and edges of the frame. So by having a frameless module, we're not susceptible to that. When we have our lamination process, we treat the front surface in a way that creates a hydrophobic surface. So the modules are, self-cleaning. So any of that surface dust, bird droppings, when it will rain, the precipitation will run that away. We've got many cases, as you can tell from my accent, I'm in Australia, and we installed our first Sunman system in 2016, and we're still monitoring today. It's on a pitched roof of 2 to 3 degrees. It's on a major arterial road with much dust and dirt and grime coming from a major arterial road, and the performance of the system is what you expect for a 30 kilowatt system installed at that time. So we have enough data and to indicate that our modules, in the real world, perform as they would with glass modules. In terms of the hail question, well, this is one of the innovations that Sunman brings to market, is our modules have passed IEC 61215, and that testing includes wind, hail, snow, humidity, freeze, damp, heat, thermal cycling. So our panels have passed the IEC test there for hail. And happy to, for those customers who want to really unpack that, we can share our IEC certificate and go through, the specific hail tests that we've done. But all that is covered in our IEC certification.
Great, thank you very much. Question about the adhesives. Obviously, this is a pretty important part of the whole kind of offer here and how the Sunman module works. You did talk a bit in your presentation about the adhesives question, but I think your wording was that the market was a little bit nervous about the concept of gluing a module down. Could you just talk a bit more about the adhesives aspect of this, how robust they are, some of the testing they've undergone? Also, one of our audience members has asked how you would remove a faulty module that's been glued down. So just a little bit more around the adhesives aspect of this would be great.
Yeah, sure. So to us in the solar community, bonding solar modules to a roof is really unusual. But let's just take a step back from the solar industry and let's look at the glazing industry. Walk down any international city with high-rise buildings and look up to the 27-story building wrapped in glass. How is the glass held in to the building? It's held in with structural glazing silicon. So the silicon that we use has been used in the construction industry for over 70 decades, or over 7 decades. So when you walk down an international city, do we worry about glass facades falling out of the sky? Are there news reports every day of people dying in cities because another window has fallen out? No, this glue adhesive is proven, tested. One of our main partners, Dow Chemical, the world's largest chemical engineering company, have been servicing this glazing industry for many decades. The same with your car windscreen or windshield. The steel frame of your car, the windscreen is glued into the frame. So again, when you're driving down the freeway at 100 miles per hour with the window down, nobody seems to be worried about the windscreen blowing out. So again, proven, tested products that have been used for many decades in many different industries. While it may be new to us in solar, it's not new by any means. And the glazing industry, the structural glazing market for these products is a $38 billion industry. So again, all these the structural glazing silicons have to go through a very robust testing process. And again, outside the scope of this presentation, but for those who would like to learn more about that, we can show you all the ETA testing that the adhesives need to go through to be used in what they call critical pieces of infrastructure, and that is, high-rise buildings for facades and glass curtain walls. So again, let's now zoom out in terms of the glazing industry. Windows get broken all the time. If little Johnny has a football and kicks it into your car windscreen and shatters the windscreen, we don't have to chuck out the car and buy a new car because of the broken windscreen. There's many glazing techniques and tools and processes that allows the silicon to be cut very simply, very easily, for the window to be replaced. No different for replacing a solar module. So if a solar module is faulty, it gets accidentally damaged, the glue adhesive can be easily removed using conventional glazing techniques and tools. Many tools, many systems, many processes being used for many decades within the glazing industry. So in essence, the Sunman installer in the future will be half electrician, half glazing contractor, and just repurposing those techniques into a solar application.
Great, thank you. That's very clear. Question also about warranties. You did talk about this in your presentation, but the sound momentarily cut out around that area, so we didn't get a full sense of what you were talking about. But I wonder if you could talk more about the warranties that you offer, the term of those, and any other details you're able to share.
Yeah, great. Yeah, apologise for any internet bandwidth issues. So our products, as I mentioned in the presentation, our IP is in our composite material and our manufacturing process. That's what we really bring to market. We are a material science company. So when it comes to the warranty around the generation, because we OEM cells from the open market, we are cell agnostic. The cells we use come with the same 25-year linear power warranty. In terms of the product warranty itself, because we've got the robust IEC standards and testing, damp, heat, humidity threes, thermal cycling, hail, wind, and snow load, our product comes with a standard 12-year product warranty. With our adhesive partner Dow, Dow Chemical are able to offer 2 warranties with their product. First, their silicon adhesive 895, their glazing silicon comes with a 10-year product warranty. And if we follow their detailed design and installation guidelines, they're able to provide a site-specific 10-year installation warranty on that adhesive as well.
Super, thank you very much. You talked in passing about your new launch, the Dragonfly. I wonder if you could just say a little bit more about that and the thinking behind a product that combines the lightweight module with a mounting structure. What's the sort of specific niche for something like this? So does it still have the same sort of benefits that the structureless module has in terms of, you know, lightweight and non-penetrative?
Yeah, so the innovation that Dragonfly brings is we take out the DNA of our lightweight module, so that our lightweight module, composite material, is in essence part of the module. We've incorporated a substructure to the back of that module that allows us to use a conventional mounting hardware. So we estimate around 25% of the market and some of the industrial applications are just really not suited for bonding. One example is, you know, particularly the sort of really cold or more climates where you know, very damp and very moist and very you know, a lot of rain. So perhaps, you know, the bonding solution may just slow things down. Well, you don't need a zero penetration installation, but you really do need the benefits of lightweight solar. So we're able then to use a conventional mounting hardware ecosystem where we can integrate our lightweight solar module into the conventional mounting hardware. And there are, you know, some parts of a roof where regular maintenance would need to be, so where you may need to uninstall modules and reinstall them. You know, adhesive is a very permanent solution. So once your car windscreen's in place, you don't want to be uninstalling it, reinstalling it, uninstalling it, reinstalling it. So having a mechanical fixing system in those applications, being able to have it removable, sort of opens that up. And you know, I mean, to be frank, some end users, just doesn't matter how well you talk to them about the size of the glazing market and go through the reams of tests on how strong and durable, and the silicon adhesive has a design life of 150 years. Some customers just can't get their head around the quick bonding. So being able to, you know, pivot the conversation to a mounting hardware approach does keep some projects alive.
Great stuff. Well, I think we're pretty much out of time now, so I'm going to draw things to an end. But Thomas, thank you so much for all your insights there. That's been very, very interesting, very informative. So yes, we've come to the end now of today's webinar. So I hope everyone tuning in has found it insightful and stimulating. I know I have. Recordings of the presentation and the slides you've seen will be emailed to you in the next few days. This webinar will also be available in full, a recording of it shortly on PV Tech's on demand section. So yeah, all that remains is for me to offer a huge thanks to Sunman for sponsoring this webinar today, and of course to Thomas for your presentation. Thanks again, Thomas. Contact details for Thomas and Sunman will be available on the presentation you receive after the webinar for any follow-up questions or quotations or other information that you're after about anything you've heard about today. So hopefully you'll be able to keep the conversation going. So yes, thanks to everyone for tuning in today. That's all for now. So goodbye from me and all the team at PV Tech. Have a very good rest of your day. Thank you.